All right, thank y'all for being here. Hope you leave here and go watch some good basketball this afternoon. Our entire organization, and when I say that, I'm from administration to our support staff to our players to our coaching staff, really excited about going to Mobile and playing in the Dollar General Bowl. To me, Mobile is a destination city. It's one of my favorite places. They do a great job putting on this bowl. I think it's a first-class event. It's going to be the third time as a coach having the opportunity to participate, and had a great time both times, and I mean that. Playing a very good Buffalo team. I think probably the best team we've played in a bowl game. Coach Lappold and his staff really done a great job. They're a 10-win team. They've already achieved what we're trying to get to. 1 point shy of being the MAC champions. If you look at quality wins over Temple, a really good Temple team, Eastern Michigan, who's playing in Montgomery on Saturday, Toledo, Miami, Ohio, some quality wins there. Had a Power 5 win just like us versus Rutgers. And so I think if you look at this, I think it's one of the better bowl matchups of bowl season. It's an opportunity for this team to get to 10 wins. And we talk about it with those guys in a team meeting here, and we'll have in about 30 minutes, and I'll tell you all the same thing, is it's an opportunity for us to get to 10 wins, and that's a number that differentiates. Okay, if you get to 10 wins, there's only been a few teams in school history who've got to that number, even less at the Division I level. For us to be able to do that for the third year in a row is an opportunity for it to be special. And don't like how we finished the regular season. I don't think we played our best the last two games. In particular, did not play very well at App State. So it's unfinished business for us. It's an opportunity for us to get to 10 wins. So there's a lot to play for. And I'll say this before I talk about Buffalo, is I'm extremely proud of our staff and our players. Sitting here with 9 wins with a really young team. If you look at it, most of our core will be returning. And this young team's overcome a ton of adversity. And I think probably as good for our staff, probably as good a job as we've done over the course of 4 years. And I want to make sure that and I encourage our fans to really come down to Mobile and support us. I watch fan bases, and I've been listening to talk radio driving around recruiting for the last couple of weeks, and I just think I don't want our fan base just to become apathetic and assume that you're going to win 9-10 games every year, because that's not the case. Like, college football is hard. It is really hard. It's really hard to win games. And I want to make sure that our fan base stays excited and stays engaged and comes down. It's on a Saturday. We play a 6 o'clock game on Saturday night. Only college football game being played at that time. It's a destination city. So I encourage not only our fan base but our students. We need our students to come out and support. We had a great crowd 2 years ago when we went down there, and it's our expectation, our hope, that we'll have a crowd that even exceeds that to support these guys, because really proud of what they've been able to accomplish so far. Talking about Buffalo, just kind of quick rundown of who they are. If you look at their special teams, veteran long snapper, veteran kicker. Number 19 handles both their kickoff and their place kicking. One of the better kickoff guys we've seen all year. Very strong leg. And they got a number 8, the receiver Osborne's one of the most dangerous return guys in college football. Big-time player. We'll have to do a really good job on both our coverage units on punt and on kickoff to getting him down. Defensively, very good defensive team. I think they're 32nd in the country in total defense. One of the top passing defenses in the country. I think they're 18th in the country in passing defense. Creating turnovers, 19th in the country. Putting pressure on the quarterback at a high rate, 36th in the country in sacks. So a lot of top numbers statistically on their defensive team. If you look at it, I think it all starts with number 4, their Mike linebacker, Hodges. He's a stud. He's as good as anybody we've played against all year at that position, sideline to sideline, really physical. And then we've got 2 DNs, and number 92, Harris, and number 94, Nicholas, that are high-end players. I think they've done a really good job, not only rushing the passer, but playing the run as well. And they've got a corner, number 39, last name Lewis, who's made a bunch of plays. I think first-team All-MAC player there. Offensively, I would say that they're probably the top overall offensive unit we've played this season. 7 All-MAC team players on this offense. They had the player of the year, which is the quarterback. They had the freshman of the year, which is their starting running back. And really explosive. Scored a lot of points versus everybody they played. Up front, it's kind of where it starts for them. Really experienced. Their center and their starting tackle were both first-team All-MAC players. If you look at them, everybody up there's got 12 or more starts, so that's impressive. So they've got a season plus starting up front. Their quarterback, Jackson, obviously the Offensive Player of the Year, big kid. Seeing him last week at the press conference there, at least 6'6", 6'7", 245 pounds. An athletic guy, but he's a passer, and especially he's got a strong arm. He breaks tackles. He's difficult to get down. He makes explosive pass plays when he's on the move. We're playing against the best wide receiver duo that we've maybe seen in a couple years. Number 83, the Johnson kid. He's an NFL player. He's coming back to Mobile in 6 weeks or so and playing in the Senior Bowl. So that tells you what kind of talent he has. And number 8, Osborne is a junior, and I talked about him as a returner. Those two are probably the best receiver duo that we've played in a long time here. The running backs they play too. They've got 2 guys almost with 1,000 yards each. They're freshmen. Patterson was the MAC Freshman Player of the Year, so he's had a great year as well. And they've got a tight end who was first-team All-MAC too. So you can just listen to me talk about those guys and several big-time players. So huge challenge for us. I always think in bowl games, it's about who's the most motivated, who's most excited. I can promise you that our guys are going to be excited. We did not finish the year off on a very good note, especially on offense. I think the keys for this is we've got to continue playing at a high level defensively. Special teams are going to be a huge factor in the game. We've done a good job all year on those. We've got to continue that, and then offensively, we've got to recreate ourselves. We're going to be different. We're going to play some different people. We're going to move some people around. We're not staying status quo because the last 2 games offensively haven't been good enough, and we're going to be different, and we'll play much better down in Mobile. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Talk about getting 10 wins, not finishing the season the way you guys wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's going to be even more motivation to go out in Mobile and get this win?
Yeah, I think we're going to be a motivated football team without any question. I think when you look at how we finished, and you're still, like I said, really proud of what we've done. 9-3, 7-1 in our league, but didn't play very well in that championship type game. And I think it was a championship game if you look at that versus App, and we just didn't play very well for whatever reason. Defensively got off to a slow start. Had some huge opportunities that we didn't take advantage of in the special teams, and then offensively just didn't move the ball very well. And App has a lot to do with it. They're a quality team and the champions of our conference, and deservingly so. But I think it's huge. We talk about it all the time. It's like the goals for the bowl game. Number 1 is to win. Number 2 is to honor a senior class. It's a small senior class, but it's a senior class that's accomplished a lot. With a win in the bowl game, and Adam, you tell me if I'm wrong, I think it has a chance to be the winningest 3-year stretch in school history. So that's huge. That's a motivating factor there. And the third thing is to get ready for a 19 season, which we've got a ton of optimism for 2019. All our core guys return. We feel like a week from today, we're going to sign another great recruiting class. So we want to carry some positive momentum over. So there's a lot of motivating factors in this game.
You talk about the 19 season. Obviously, we've all seen the rumors going around. 2019 for you and the coaching other jobs. Any comments on that?
No, I just think first of all, I think you got to be careful what. Believe in everything you see on Twitter. Obviously, there's some activity. We've had success here, and I think when you have success, and I think it'd be important to note that our success here has had just a small amount to do with me. Okay, it's really been about our administration being aligned with what we're doing, having the ability to hire really good staff, and we've recruited really good players. And I think this building that we're sitting in here right now is a big reason why. And we've got a tradition of winning, but. So when you have success, opportunities come. Am I going to talk about them? No. And I don't think that does any good for this institution or for those other institutions. But I think it's really just, and like I said, there's not a really good way to answer that. But I think anytime you win and you get exposure, then that creates potential opportunities.
You mentioned it a little bit. You talked the last couple years that a bowl game is always a reward, for hard work during the season. But this year it seems a little different. Is there a different factor for this team in this bowl game?
Justin, I think that bowl games are rewards, and we're real careful about how we handle bowl games with our players. And what I mean by that is in Jeremy and all our athletic administration and all the way up to Dr. Hawkins, they've done a great job the last 2 years and this year as well, is allowing us to do everything physically possible, and physically with F, okay, to to make this the best experience possible for our players, and we've done that. And we try to make them a really fun experience. The practices that we have during bowl season are distinctly different than the ones we have in season. And what I mean by that, we go shorter. They're less physical. A lot of it's built around development for our next year's team. Okay, so is the goal still to win? Absolutely, I think. But if you talk about, and it goes back to this, is talked about being motivating in games. All right, it's a long time. It's going to be almost a full month since we've played. So I don't think it would be very wise on our part to just continue with the status quo. So we're trying to make it a fun experience. We want to reward them, but it is. This is a big game. It's an opportunity for us to get to 10 wins. It's really real similar, Justin, to the last time we went down and played in Mobile. If you think about it, we lost a really gut-wrenching game the last week of the season at Georgia Southern, and then we rebounded to beat a really good Ohio team in the Dollar General Bowl, and it's kind of the same way. And that gave us a lot of positive momentum heading in recruiting, a lot of positive momentum heading into what was the 17th season. And so that's the way we're attacking this as well, is it's an opportunity to get us 10 wins, which makes it a special season. It's an opportunity for us to finish strong, carry that momentum into what we think's got an opportunity, maybe our best year yet in 2019.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the early signing next week. What has become more important, this date or the February date?
Well, I think this is the date. And I don't know what coaches really thought when it came out. For us, the signing date is in January. So that's the way we've got a large number of kids that's committed to us, and we expect them to sign in December, because that's the signing date. And if you're committed, then we expect you to sign. Now, we won't sign our entire class in December. There'll be some guys that we'll sign, and just like we've done in the past, we'll sign in February, and there's some guys we add over the summer too. We're always trying to build and evolve our roster, but the December signing date for us at Troy, I don't want to talk for any other universities or anything, but for us at Troy, this has become the day where we sign the highest number of prospects.
Could I get a good back? Coach, you read it off some pretty impressive defensive numbers. Looking at Buffalo, what's the biggest offensive challenge that you guys are going to have for this upcoming game?
Well,
you guys are looking very, very toughly at this 10-win season, and this is probably going to be your biggest challenge. Well,
it's going to be one of our top challenges for sure. And if you look at it, they've done a good job in all phases. I think when teams have dropped back to pass versus these guys, they've had teams have struggled. I think I said 18th in the country in pass defense. They're 36th in sacks, so they're doing a really good job of not only defending the pass but getting after the quarterback as well. So I think that aspect on top of we have not thrown the football very well. Whether due to injury or whatever the case is at receiver, we've not thrown the football very well in the last 2 weeks of the season. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for us.
To follow on Ken's question on the changing landscape of college football, in your opinion, will the new Redshirt Rule, do you think across the bowl schedule for you and for other schools, that we'll see opportunities that schools will take to play guys in bowl games who haven't necessarily played much all season long and still retain their eligibility? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think it depends how they've used that rule, Barry. And so we've got several guys that have already played their 4 games that we won't exceed, and we want to make sure they're redshirted. And then we've got a handful of guys that still have games available that we do plan on playing. And I think you'll see that. And what happens is our guys that are redshirting are in what we call a developmental program. In the developmental program, they lift 4 days a week, and they stay in an off-season conditioning program, strength conditioning program during the fall. And they scrimmage every Monday. Okay, that's kind of their plan for the developmental squad. And then we get to bowl prep. All right, I think we've had 5 practices already. And what we do with those guys is they scrimmage at the end. Now, we don't tackle, but they thud scrimmage every single practice until we go to the bowl site. They'll do it again today. They'll do it again tomorrow and Friday. And so what happens is these guys get a lot more experience, and as coaches, you start growing trust, and you feel more comfortable playing. And I think you'll see, I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I think you'll see five or six guys that haven't played as much play key roles in our game.
So going back to Buffalo, I can't think of another quarterback that's quite had the size of Tyree Jackson that's played against Troy. How does that factor into the game?
Yeah, Scott, first of all, it's a good point. And it's one thing to see him on video, but at the press conference last week in Mobile, I was able to see him. And, I mean, he's a legitimately big guy. I mean, he's a big lower body, strong. So I think what you have to do is you have to train your defensive guys. It's got to be a group mentality tackling. We got a gang tackle to get him down, and he's done a really good job. He uses a stiff arm. He breaks through tackles. He's thrown some balls. Because he's so strong, he's thrown some balls with people on him. So I think we've got to be intentional about getting multiple hats to him.
Compared to coming from New York down, and what is that travel going to be like? And it's got to be a benefit for this bowl game. And when you heard the announcement, were you guys excited as a coach? Okay, we just have a quick trip compared to Buffalo.
Well, I'm excited about it because where it's located. As far as in the city of Mobile, we've got some really good players in the city of Mobile. We've got some really good players that we're recruiting in this recruiting class, and the next couple that are from the city of Mobile. It's an in-state game. I think anytime you can stay in your state and play a bowl game, there's huge positive ramifications for that. I mean that. The other thing, too, it's a known commodity. We've used the hotel bunch. We're going to practice at Saraland High School. We did that a couple years ago, so there's some familiarity. We know the schedule. So I think there's a lot of benefits playing in Mobile. I don't think there's any negatives for Buffalo. They're going to fly in on Tuesday morning probably, and they'll enjoy the week. This is I think the third bowl game in their history. So I think that they're not going to lack for motivation either. They're going to be a group that's really excited about the opportunity to play on the 22nd.
It's a little off topic, and you may not want to answer it, but you talked about how next year, could be the big year for this program. You've seen what UCF has done the last 2 years going undefeated. In the current format, do you see a situation where a Group of 5 team, possibly like you guys next year, can find yourself in the playoffs?
Well, honestly, I think it's going to take for the playoff to expanding. I think what Central Florida's done, have they won 25 in a row? Is that what they've won? Yeah, so I think you're going to have to see the playoff expand. For us, here's the way we look at it. Okay, is if we take care of business, okay, we want to have the opportunity, and I think that our administration's done a really good job from a scheduling standpoint. Where now it's going to take a Troy or any team in the Sun Belt probably running the table, and App was really close this year. They were really close this year, but I think it's going to take a team running the table. And if you look at what our non-conference schedule looks like next year, or even what our non-conference schedule was in 17 or 16, if you can run the table, then you give yourself an opportunity in our league, because it's continuing to get better. You give yourself an opportunity to play in one of those New Year's Six bowls, and then. All right. The next phase being, if the playoff does expand, then I think you're going to see it where all conference champions have an opportunity.